In a quaint, seemingly normal house on the outskirts of town, the Davis family encountered an unusual visitor. This being, known only as Zalthor, resided in a higher dimension and found delight in visiting the family to share eerie and mesmerizing tales from realms beyond human comprehension. It was a chilly autumn evening when Zalthor first appeared. The Davis family, John, his wife Mary, and their teenage daughter Emily, were gathered in the living room, the warm glow of the fireplace casting dancing shadows on the walls. Suddenly the air grew cold and a strange shimmering figure materialized before them. "Greetings, mortals," Zalthor intoned, his voice echoing as if from a great distance. "I come to share stories from realms unseen by your kind." The family, though initially terrified, found themselves unable to look away. Zalthor's presence was both captivating and unsettling. His tales were vivid, filled with bizarre creatures and landscapes that defied the laws of physics. Each story was a window into a world where reality was fluid and time was but a suggestion. One night, Zalthor spoke of a place where shadows had minds of their own, creeping and whispering secrets to those who dared to listen. As he described the shadowy realm, the Davis family felt an inexplicable chill, as if the shadows in their own home were coming to life. "Beware," Zalthor warned, his eyes gleaming with a sinister light. "For the boundaries between our worlds are thin. Sometimes, the tales I tell can seep into your reality." At first, the Davis family dismissed this as part of the eerie charm of Zalthor's stories. But soon, they began to notice strange occurrences. Emily would wake up in the middle of the night, convinced that she saw figures moving in the corners of her room. John found himself losing track of time, hours slipping by in what felt like minutes. Mary heard whispers in the dead of night, voices that seemed to come from the very walls of their home. The family grew increasingly paranoid, their once cozy home now a place of unease. They tried to confront Zalthor, but he merely smiled, his expression unreadable. "Your reality is but a fragile construct," he said cryptically, "and my tales are the threads that weave through it." One evening, as Zalthor recounted a particularly harrowing story about a realm where mirrors were gateways to other dimensions, Emily felt a sudden compulsion to look into the mirror in the hallway. As she gazed into it, her reflection seemed to ripple and shift, showing glimpses of otherworldly landscapes. Terrified, she called out to her parents. John and Mary rushed to her side, but when they looked into the mirror, they saw nothing unusual. Emily's fear, however, was palpable, and they couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The next night, Zalthor's story was about a dimension where dreams and reality were indistinguishable. As he spoke, the Davis family felt a growing sense of dread. They realized that they could no longer tell if they were awake or dreaming. The lines between Zalthor's tales and their own lives had blurred beyond recognition. Desperate to break free from Zalthor's influence, John decided to confront the being directly. "Why are you doing this to us?" he demanded. "What do you want?" Zalthor's eyes glowed with an otherworldly light. "I seek to remind you, mortals, of the vastness of existence. Your reality is but one of many, and it is fragile. My tales are a gift, a glimpse into the infinite." "But at what cost?" Mary cried, her voice trembling. Zalthor's smile widened. "That is for you to discover." With that, he vanished, leaving the Davis family in a state of profound unease. They realized that Zalthor's visits had changed them irrevocably. Their perception of reality had been shattered, and they could no longer trust their own senses. As the days turned into weeks, the Davis family struggled to regain a sense of normalcy. But the shadows in their home seemed to move with a life of their own, and the whispers in the night grew louder. They knew that Zalthor's tales had left a permanent mark on their lives, a reminder that the boundaries of reality were far more tenuous than they had ever imagined. And so they lived in constant fear, knowing that Zalthor could return at any moment, bringing with him more tales from realms beyond human comprehension. The sinister edge of his stories had become a part of their reality, and they could never escape the haunting presence of the being from the higher dimension.